The emergency signal came through on a Tuesday morning, ship time. Captain was drinking his third cup of coffee when the communications board lit up like a festival. The bridge of the UES Retribution went silent as the message played through the speakers. It was not in any Earth language. The translator worked hard to make sense of the words, but the meaning was clear enough. Someone was dying. Someone was calling for help. Someone was begging the galaxy to save them. "Play it again," said quietly. Navigator Lee Hay touched the controls. The message repeated. This time they could hear more details. The voice belonged to someone called Their colony was under attack. Ships had come from the darkness. Warriors with claws and mandibles had landed on their peaceful world. They were taking prisoners. They were taking children. They were farmers. They grew crystals that produced clean energy. They had no weapons. They had no soldiers. They had trusted the Galactic Council to protect them. "How long ago was this sent?" asked. Lee Hay checked her instruments. 4 days, Captain. It traveled a long way to reach us." 4 days, repeated. He looked at the star map on the main screen. The colony was a small dot on the edge of known space. "Have we received any other transmissions? Any updates?" "Nothing, sir," Lee Hay said. Her face was pale. "Just this one message, on repeat." Engineer Park Jin spoke up from his station. "Captain, I can boost our engines. We could reach them in 3 days instead of 2 weeks." "That will burn out half our systems," Tactical Officer said. "I know," Jin replied, "but those are people dying out there." Stood up. He was not a tall man, but he carried himself like someone who had seen war. Earth had been at war for most of its history. Peace was still a new thing for humanity. The other species in the galaxy did not understand this about humans. They saw Earth's blue oceans and green forests and called it a paradise. They did not know that paradise had been built on 10,000 years of struggle. "Send a message to command," ordered. "Tell them we are responding to the distress call." "Sir, we should wait for council approval," said carefully. "The protocols say." "The protocols were written by people who have never watched children die," interrupted. His voice was cold. "Send the message, then set course for the colony, maximum speed." The crew moved quickly. They knew their captain. They knew he would not change his mind. Medical Officer Na came to the bridge 30 minutes later. She was a small woman with quick hands and a sharp mind. "Captain, I heard we are going into a combat zone." "That is correct." "I will prepare the medical bay," she said. "But sir, we should request backup. We are one ship." "I have already sent messages to the Vengeance and the Reckoning," said. "They will meet us at the colony." 3 ships, Na said softly, "against an unknown enemy." Looked at her. "Would you prefer we do nothing?" Na shook her head. "No, Captain, I would prefer we save them." The Retribution jumped to faster-than-light speed 6 hours later. The ship groaned and shook as Jin pushed the engines beyond their normal limits. The crew felt the vibrations through the deck plates. They knew what it meant. They were racing death itself. On the second day, they received a response from Earth Command. It was not what they expected. "Captain," the message began. The voice belonged to Ambassador Sun. She was Earth's representative to the Galactic Council. "Your actions have caused quite a disturbance. The Council is demanding that you turn back immediately. They say you are violating their jurisdiction." Listen to the entire message. Then he asked Lee Hay to prepare a response. "Ambassador Sun," he said into the recorder, "please inform the Council that Earth is responding to a humanitarian crisis. If they wish to stop us, they are welcome to try. But I suggest they send their peacekeepers to the colony instead. They will find us there, saving lives." He sent the message and returned to his coffee. Lee Hay smiled despite herself. "The Council is not going to like that, Captain." "The Council has been debating for 4 days while people died," said. "I do not care what they like." On the 3rd day, they received intelligence from Earth's spy network. The attacking force was called the. They were in species known for slave trading. They had 40 warships in the system. They had already captured thousands of prisoners. Studied the information with a dark expression. Captain, these are bad odds, 40 ships against 3. Then we will have to be smarter than them, said. Or meaner, Jin added from engineering. Allowed himself a small smile. That too. The crew prepared for battle. Na organized medical supplies. Jin modified the weapon systems, making them faster and deadlier. Planned attack patterns. Li Hei calculated jump coordinates with perfect precision. And watched the countdown timer. 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. The retribution dropped out of faster-than-light speed at the edge of the system. The Vengeance and the Reckoning appeared moments later. 3 human warships, each carrying a crew that had never known peace in their species' history. Ahead of them, the colony burned. Ships circled the planet like vultures. The distress signal had stopped broadcasting 2 days ago. Captain, Li Hei said quietly, I am picking up life signs on the surface. Thousands of them. Li asked. Yes, sir, they are alive. Felt something cold settle in his chest. They were not too late, not yet. Open a channel, he ordered. All frequencies, I wanted to hear this. Activated the communications array. Channel open, Captain. Stood in the center of the bridge. Behind him, his crew watched with hard eyes. Around him, 2 other ships waited for his signal. Below him, thousands of innocent people prayed for rescue. Forces, said clearly. This is Captain of the United Earth Ship Retribution. You are hereby ordered to release all prisoners immediately and withdraw from this system. You have 30 minutes to comply. The response came quickly. It was laughter, harsh, clicking laughter that the translator barely understood. 30 minutes, the commander replied. Or what human? You are 3 ships, we are 40. Leave now and we will let you live. Looked at, did you record that? Yes, Captain. Good, said. I want the galaxy to know they were warned. He sat down in his command chair and looked at the tactical display. 40 red dots surrounded one small planet. 3 blue dots hung at the system's edge. All ships, broadcast to the Vengeance and the Reckoning. Lock weapons, prepare to engage, show them what due to slavers. The timer counted down, 30 minutes, 20, 10. They did not withdraw. They would regret that choice. The 30 minutes ended at exactly 14:47 ship time. Captain watched the chronometer tick to 0. They had not moved. They sat in orbit around the colony like they owned it, like they had every right to be there. Time is up, said. You may fire when ready. The first shot came from the Retribution's main. Engineer Park Jin had spent 2 days modifying it. The projectile moved at a significant fraction of light speed. It crossed 300,000 kilometers in less than 2 seconds. The cruiser never saw it coming. The tungsten rod punched through its shields like they were paper. It went through the ship from bow to stern, and the cruiser split in half. Both pieces tumbled into the planet's atmosphere, burning as they fell. Target destroyed, reported. His voice was steady. Acquiring next target. The fleet reacted slowly. They had expected negotiations. They had expected fear. They had not expected immediate violence. That was their second mistake. Their first was attacking the. All ships engage at will, ordered. Target their weapons and engines. I want some of them alive for questioning. The Vengeance and the Reckoning opened fire. 3 human ships against 40 vessels. The numbers should have favored the. But numbers did not account for human ingenuity. Navigator Li Hei had planned their approach perfectly. The human ships used the planet's gravity well to slingshot between targets. They moved in patterns that they could not predict. When they fired, the human ships were already somewhere else. Jin's modifications made each shot count. The fired solid metal at impossible speeds. The energy weapons cut through armor like a hot knife through butter. The missiles tracked their targets with relentless precision. "Destroyer coming about," Li He called out. "They are trying to flank us." "Let them," said. "Prepare countermeasures." The ship swung wide, trying to get behind the Retribution. It fired a spread of plasma torpedoes, released a cloud of metallic chaff that absorbed the impacts. Then the Retribution rotated on its axis and returned fire. The destroyer's engines exploded. It went dark, drifting helplessly in space. "Another one down," said. "That makes 6. 34 to go," replied. The battle continued. They tried different tactics. They tried to surround the human ships. They tried massed fire. They tried ramming attacks. Nothing worked. The human ships moved like dancers. They anticipated every move. They exploited every weakness. Li Hei's navigation was flawless. Targeting was surgical. Jin kept the weapons firing without pause. Medical Officer Na watched from the medical bay. She had prepared for casualties. She had set up emergency stations. She had stocked supplies for mass trauma. But the casualties were all on the other side. "Bridge, this is medical," she called over the intercom. "Do we have any wounded?" "Negative," replied. "They have not landed a significant hit." Na frowned. That seemed impossible, but the sensors did not lie. The Retribution had taken minor damage to its outer hull, nothing serious, nothing that required her attention. Then the alert sirens blared. "Captain, we have a problem," Li He said urgently. "One of the ships just self-destructed near the Reckoning. The debris field is massive." Leaned forward. "Status of the Reckoning." "They took damage to their port side," Li He reported. "Hull breach on decks 3 and 4. They are venting atmosphere." "Na, prepare to receive wounded," ordered. "Already on it, Captain," she replied. They saw the damaged human ship. They pressed their advantage. 5 cruisers moved in for the kill. "Vengeance, cover the Reckoning," commanded. "We are moving to intercept." The Retribution accelerated hard. Jin diverted power from non-essential systems to the engines. The ship shook as it pushed beyond safety limits. Li He plotted the intercept course. "We will arrive in 90 seconds, Captain, but they will reach firing range in 60. "Then we fire first," said. "Maximum range shots make them count." They spoke again, and again, and again. 3 ships broke apart under the assault. The remaining 2 turned to face this new threat. They never got the chance to fire. The Vengeance swept in from above, its weapons blazing. The 2 cruisers vanished in balls of flame. "Reckoning reports casualties," Li He said. 23 wounded, 5 critical. They have sealed the breaches." "Send shuttles to evacuate the wounded," ordered, "and tell the Reckoning to fall back to a safe distance." The battle had been going for 18 minutes. 18 minutes of constant action. 18 minutes of violence and fire. They were down to 26 ships. They were starting to panic. Watch the tactical display. They were grouping together, trying to present a unified front. It was a defensive posture. They had gone from hunters to prey. "They are trying to retreat," observed. "Do not let them," said coldly. "They wanted a fight, now they have one." But then something changed. The largest ship, a massive carrier, began descending toward the planet. "Captain, the flagship is landing," Li He said. "They are heading for the main settlement." Felt ice in his veins. "They are going for the hostages." He had seen this before. In Earth's wars, when one side was losing, they often tried to use civilians as shields. It was a coward's tactic. It was also effective. "All ships cease fire on the flagship," ordered. "We cannot risk hitting the settlement." The carrier landed hard on the outskirts of the city. Its boarding ramps dropped. Thousands of warriors poured out. "Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the commander," Li He said. "Put it through." The voice was harsh and clicking. The translator struggled with the accent. "Human captain, you have done well, but the game is over. We have 10,000 prisoners. If you attack us, we will kill them all. Leave this system now, or their blood will be on your hands." The bridge was silent. His crew looked at him, waiting for orders. Nu's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, you cannot let them do this." "I know," said quietly. He looked at the planet below. Somewhere down there, thousands of innocent people were being held at gunpoint. They were farmers, crystal growers, parents and children. They had done nothing wrong except trust the galaxy to protect them. The thought they had won. They thought the humans would back down. They did not understand. "Lihei, how many ships remain in orbit?" asked. 14, sir." "Destroy them quickly." "But sir, the on the surface," began. "We'll learn what happens when you threaten innocence in front of humans," finished. "Destroy the orbital ships, then prepare for ground assault." "Ground assault," Lihei repeated. "Captain, we only have 50 Marines on board." "Then those 50 will have to be enough," said. He activated the ship-wide intercom. "This is the captain. All Marines report to the armory. Security Chief Bei Wu report to the bridge." Hesitated. "Sir, this is insane. We cannot fight 3,000 ground forces with 50 Marines." Looked at him. "Tactical officer, have you ever been to Earth?" "No, sir." "Earth is said, gravity that crushes most species, an atmosphere that burns, predators in every environment, diseases that kill in hours. Humans evolved to survive all of that. We learned to hunt creatures bigger and stronger than us. We learned to fight and win against impossible odds." He stood up. "They are about to learn why the galaxy fears. Now destroy those ships and prepare for landing." The crew obeyed. The orbital battle lasted another 10 minutes. When it was over, every ship was either destroyed or drifting dead in space. Bei Wu arrived on the bridge. He was a large man from a dozen battles. "You called for me, Captain." "We are going down there," said, pointing at the planet. "We are getting those people back." Wu smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Yes, sir, my Marines are ready." "Good," said, "because they are about to discover what humans do to slavers." They fell through the atmosphere like meteors. Inside, 50 human Marines prepared for war. They checked their weapons. They sealed their armor. They said prayers to gods both old and new. Corporal Han sat near the front of his. He was young for a corporal, only 24, but he had seen combat before. Earth had sent peacekeepers to 3 different conflicts in the past 2 years, had been at all of them. 2 minutes to landing, the pilot announced. Looked at his squad. Private sat across from him, her rifle held tight. Next to her was Private, who never stopped chewing gum even in combat. Further back was Private, the squad's heavy weapons specialist. "Listen up," said. "Our job is simple. We find the prisoners. We get them out. We kill anyone who tries to stop us." "Corporal, there are 3,000 down there," said. "We are 50 Marines." "Then we will have to be efficient," replied. The shook as it hit turbulence. Warning lights flashed red. The pilot swore over the intercom. "We are taking fire. Ground batteries are tracking us." "Can you evade?" asked. "Not without crashing into the other." Made a decision. Then crash into the batteries instead. "Say again," the pilot asked. "You heard me," said. "Aim for their weapons. We are coming in hot anyway. Might as well make it count." The pilot was silent for 3 seconds. Then she laughed. "Roger that, Corporal. Hold on to something." The tilted hard. Through the small windows, could see the ground rushing up. He could see the defensive positions. He could see their plasma batteries tracking the human ships. "Brace for impact," the pilot shouted. They hit the ground at 200 kilometers per hour. It skipped once, twice, then plowed through a weapons emplacement. Metal screamed. Armor crumpled. The Marines were thrown against their restraints. Then everything stopped. Tasted blood. His head rang, but he was alive. "Sound off," he yelled. One by one, his squad reported in. 3 minor injuries, nothing serious. They had survived. "Ramp down," ordered. "Move, move, move." The rear ramp dropped. Desert air rushed in hot and dry, charged out, his rifle up and ready. They had landed in the middle of a base. All around them, warriors were recovering from the shock of the crash. Some were crushed under debris. Others were stumbling around, confused. Did not give them time to recover. "Fire," he shouted. The humans opened up. Their weapons were loud in the desert air. Warriors fell, their chitinous armor cracking under the impacts. Green blood sprayed across the sand. "Move to cover," ordered. "Lay down, suppressing fire." His squad moved like they had trained 1,000 times, because they had. Earth's military drilled constantly. Peace was new, but training was eternal. They reached a ruined building and took positions. More were coming now. Hundreds of them. They moved in a swarm, their mandibles clicking with rage. "Light them up," commanded. The heavy weapons specialist grinned. He activated his plasma thrower. A jet of blue fire shot out, washing over the advancing. They screamed as they burned. From the sky the other were landing, or crashing, could not tell which, but Marines were pouring out of each one, forming defensive positions. Security Chief Bei Wu's voice came over the radio. "All squads, form up on my position. We push toward the prisoner compound in 5 minutes." "Copy that," replied. He looked at his squad. "You heard the chief, we move in 5. Those 5 minutes felt like hours. They kept attacking. They had numbers on their side, but the humans had something else. They had fury. Every Marine knew what they had done. They had taken civilians. They had threatened children. They had tried to use innocents as shields. On Earth there were rules of war. Those rules had been written in blood over, and the most important rule was simple: you do not harm civilians, ever. They had broken that rule. "Time is up," Wu announced. "All squads advance." The humans moved forward as one. 50 Marines against 3,000. It should have been suicide. But they were not ready for what came next. The humans did not fight like other species. They had fought the gentle who would not resist. They had fought the slow-moving who telegraphed every attack. They had even fought the fearsome who were strong but predictable. Humans were none of those things. Squad moved through the ruins like ghosts. They used every piece of cover. They flanked. They set ambushes. When they expected them to retreat, they charged. When they expected them to charge, they vanished. Proved to be an excellent shot. She hit targets at ranges the thought impossible. Never stopped moving, always finding new angles. Turned corners into kill zones with his heavy weapons. And led from the front, his rifle barking orders in the language of violence. They reached the prisoner compound 30 minutes into the assault. It was a large building surrounded by fences. Could see faces pressed against windows. They looked terrified. "Blow the gate," ordered. The explosion was loud. The gate fell inward, but before the humans could advance, a commander appeared. He was massive, twice the size of a normal warrior. He held a child in his claws. "Stop," the commanded. His translator was better than most. "Come closer and the young one dies." Froze, his squad froze. On the radio, he could hear Wu ordering other squads to hold position. The commander clicked his mandibles in what might have been laughter. "You see, you humans are soft. You care too much. Now you will." The shot came from somewhere to the left. One moment the commander was talking. The next moment his head exploded in a spray of green blood. The child fell, rushed forward and caught them before they hit the ground. "Who took that shot?" Wu demanded over the radio. "Sniper SOS, sir," a calm voice replied. "Target neutralized." Looked up. Somewhere in the ruins, 2 kilometers away, SOS had just made an impossible shot. Through heat shimmer, through chaos, through the fear that must have been crushing everyone. "Outstanding," Wu said. "All squads into the compound. Get those prisoners out." The Marines poured through the broken gate. They tried to stop them. They failed. Inside the compound found hundreds of prisoners. They were thin, scared, some were injured, but they were alive. "We are here to help," said gently. He set the child down carefully. "Can you walk?" The adult nearest him nodded. They had large eyes and crystalline skin that shimmered in the light. "You came," they whispered. "We called for help and you came." "Always," said. "Now let us get you out of here." But they were not done. More warriors were coming, thousands of them. They had realized the humans were fewer in number. They were gathering for a final assault. Wu's voice crackled over the radio. "All squads, we have a problem, are massing for a counterattack. We need to evacuate the prisoners now." "Sir, they are damaged," someone replied. "We cannot fly them out." "Then we walk," Wu said. "Form a defensive perimeter, protect the civilians, move out." The Marines formed up around the prisoners. They began moving toward the extraction point, a clearing 5 kilometers away where shuttles from the Retribution could land. They attacked from all sides. They came in waves. They were desperate, angry. They had never lost before. But they had never fought before. Squad held the rear. They fought step by step, never giving ground easily. When warriors got too close, the Marines met them hand to hand. Powered armor against natural chitin, human training against fury. The humans won every time. Ran out of ammunition. She picked up a weapon and kept fighting. Took shrapnel to his leg but refused to stop. Carried 2 children on his shoulders while firing his weapon with one hand. And was everywhere at once, coordinating, encouraging, leading. "Almost there," Wu called out. "Shuttles are inbound." Could see the clearing ahead. They were going to make it. Against all odds, they were going to save these people. Then he heard scream. He turned. A warrior had grabbed her from behind. Its claws were at her throat. Did not think, he just moved. His rifle came up. The shot was impossible, and they were too close together. But he took it anyway. The bullet passed within centimeters of his head and hit in its compound eye. The warrior dropped. Stared at him, breathing hard. "That was insane, Corporal." "Welcome to the way," replied. He helped her to her feet. "Now move." They reached the clearing. The shuttles landed. The prisoners climbed aboard, helped by Marines who were covered in dust and blood. Was the last one on his shuttle. As it lifted off, he looked down at the battlefield. They were retreating. Hundreds of them lay dead in the sand. 50 Marines had faced 3,000 warriors. And the Marines had won. The battle was over in 18 hours. Captain stood on the bridge of the Retribution and watched the final ship try to escape. It did not get far. The Vengeance cut it off and disabled its engines with precise fire. "That is the last one, Captain," Navigator Li He reported. "All vessels are either destroyed or captured." "And the ground forces?" asked. "Surrendered, sir," Security Chief Bei Wu replied over the radio. "We have 97 prisoners. The rest are dead." Medical Officer Na was listening from the medical bay. She had been treating wounded for hours. Marines with burns, cuts, and broken bones. Civilians with malnutrition and trauma, but everyone would live. "Casualties?" asked quietly. 7 Marines wounded, none critical, Wu reported. "No fatalities." The bridge was silent for a moment. 50 Marines against 3,000, 0 deaths. "Impossible," whispered. "Improbable," Engineer Park Jin corrected. "But when you are from the improbable becomes routine." Allowed himself a small smile. Then he got serious again. "Li He, I want you to do something for me." "Yes, Captain." "Take the wreckage of the fleet. Arrange it in orbit. I want to send a message that can be seen from light years away." Li He frowned. "What kind of message, sir?" Told her. Her eyes went wide. Then she smiled. "That is going to make a lot of people angry, Captain." "Good," said. "Let them be angry. Let them understand what happens to slavers." It took 6 hours to arrange the wreckage. The Retribution's engineering teams used tractor beams and small explosives to position each piece of debris. When they were done, the message was clear. Written in binary code, using the destroyed hulls of 40 warships, the message read, "Slavers will be hunted." It could be seen from any ship approaching the system. It would remain there for years, a permanent reminder. On the surface, they were recovering. Corporal Han walked through their settlement, helping where he could. The people approached him carefully at first. They were gentle beings, unused to violence. But they were grateful. "You saved us," an elder named said. "We called the Galactic Council for help. They told us to wait, but you came." "We heard your call," said simply. "We answered." Touched hand with their crystalline fingers. It was the way of showing deep respect. "The Council says humans are dangerous. That Earth is full of violent creatures." "That is true," admitted. "But you are also kind," said softly. "You risked your lives for people you do not know. You fought monsters to save our children." Did not know what to say to that. He was a soldier. He followed orders, but was looking at him like he was a hero. "We just did what was right," he finally said. 3 days later, the Galactic Council arrived. 7 ships jumped into the system, led by the Council's flagship. Ambassador Sun was waiting for them. She stood in the Retribution's briefing room when the Council's delegation came aboard. There were 5 of them, representing the major powers of the galaxy. They looked angry. "Ambassador Sun," the representative began. His name was unpronounceable in human language, so everyone called him Delegate Tor. "Your actions here were unauthorized. You violated Council protocols. You engaged in combat without permission." "We saved lives," Sun replied calmly. "You escalated a situation that could have been resolved peacefully," a Quinn delegate added. She was a floating, jellyfish-like creature that communicated through color changes. The Council was negotiating with the... "For how long?" Sun asked. "How many weeks would you have negotiated while the suffered?" "That is not the point," Delegate Tor said. "That is exactly the point," Sun countered. Her voice was cold. "You debated, we acted. Your peacekeeping forces are still 3 weeks away. If you had come when the first called, you would have found only graves." "They are claiming you committed war crimes," another delegate said. "They say your forces showed no mercy." "We showed mercy to everyone who surrendered," said. He had joined the meeting via video link from the bridge. "The casualties came from their refusal to stop fighting. They used civilians as shields. They threatened children. They made their choice." "You destroyed 40 ships," Delegate Tor protested. 40 ships full of slavers," said. "Yes, and I would do it again." The Council delegates looked at each other. They were not used to being challenged like this. "You have created a diplomatic incident," the Quinn delegate said. "The Hive is demanding reparations." Sun laughed. It was not a kind sound. "Reparations for what? For stopping them from enslaving an entire planet." "The Council will hold a formal hearing," Delegate Tor announced. "You will answer for your actions." "We will be there," Sun said, "and we will bring the with us. Let them tell the galaxy what the Council's peacekeeping is worth." The delegates left shortly after. Sun sat down heavily once they were gone. "That could have gone better," she said. His face on the screen showed a slight smile. "Or it could have gone worse. At least they did not try to arrest us." "They cannot," Sun said, "not without starting a war, and they know it." She looked at the data pad in her hands. It showed intelligence reports from across the galaxy. 17 different criminal organizations had been planning raids on vulnerable colonies. All of them had canceled their plans after news of the battle spread. "We made them afraid," Sun said softly. "That was the idea," replied. 2 weeks later, the Galactic Assembly convened. It was held on the neutral station of Harmony Point, a massive structure that orbited a dead star. Every spacefaring species sent representatives. Captain walked into the assembly hall with his crew. Li Hei, Jin, Na, and flanked him. Behind them came Security Chief Wu and Corporal. They wore their dress uniforms, crisp and clean. But everyone could see the scars, the marks of battle that no uniform could hide. The hall was enormous. Thousands of beings filled the galleries, representing hundreds of worlds. They all turned to watch as the humans entered. Ambassador Sun was already there, seated at the Earth delegation table. She stood as approached. "Are you ready?" she asked. "As ready as I can be," replied. The Council's Chief Justice called the session to order. He was an ancient being, his species so old that they had been traveling the stars when humans were still living in caves. "We are here to address the actions of Earth's military forces in the system," the Chief Justice announced. "The charges are unauthorized military action, excessive use of force, and violation of Council sovereignty." "How do the accused plead?" Sun stood. "Earth acknowledges its actions. We do not apologize for them." A murmur ran through the crowd. "You admit to violating Council protocols?" the Chief Justice asked. "We admit to saving lives," Sun said clearly, "something the Council failed to do." "That is not," Delegate Tor began. But he was interrupted. The delegation stood up. Elder walked to the center of the hall. "May I speak?" asked. The Chief Justice hesitated, then nodded. Turned to address the assembly. "I am Elder of the people. I was there when they attacked. I sent the distress call that the Council received." The Council was preparing a response, Delegate Tor said quickly. "For 3 weeks," said. Their voice was soft but clear. 3 weeks while my people suffered. 3 weeks while children cried. 3 weeks while they took everything from us." Paused, and then Earth answered. "In 3 days they crossed the galaxy. In 18 hours they freed us. Their soldiers fought 3,000 enemies to save people they had never met." The Elder looked at. Captain and his crew did not come with soft words and slow ships. They came with purpose. They came with strength. They came because it was right. The assembly hall was silent. "The Council calls Earth dangerous," continued. "But I call them heroes. I call them saviors. And I formally petition this assembly to grant Earth the status of protector." A roar went up from the galleries. Some species cheered. Others protested. The Chief Justice had to call for order 3 times. When quiet finally returned, Sun spoke again. "They are not alone in their request. 37 other colonies have joined their petition. All of them are vulnerable. All of them know the Council cannot protect them in time." She looked around the hall. "Earth will accept protector status, but there will be conditions. We will operate under rules of engagement. We will show mercy to those who surrender. We will protect civilians above all else." "But," she said, her voice hard, "we will not hesitate. We will not debate while people die. And we will not apologize for destroying those who prey on the weak." The vote took 6 hours. In the end, Earth was granted protector status by a narrow margin. As and his crew left the hall, beings from across the galaxy approached them. Some offered thanks. Some offered alliance. Some offered nothing but respect. Walked beside his captain. "Sir, do you think this will change anything?" Considered the question. "I think the galaxy just learned that have rules. Break those rules and we will find you. And if they keep testing us, then they will keep learning," said simply. 3 months passed. The UES Retribution returned to patrol duty along the outer rim. Captain sat in his command chair and read the daily reports. Pirate activity was down. Slave raids had dropped by 70%. The criminal organizations that once operated openly were now hiding in the shadows. Fear was a powerful motivator. "Captain, incoming transmission," Navigator Li Hei announced. "It is marked urgent." "Put it through," said. The face that appeared on the screen was unfamiliar. A reptilian species with golden scales. "Captain, my name is Merchant. I operate trade routes in the sector. I need your help." leaned forward. What is the situation? Raiders hit my convoy 3 hours ago, explained. His voice was shaking. They took my crew and my cargo. They are demanding ransom. But I know these raiders. Even if I pay, they will kill everyone. Where are they now? Asked. The Razor Belt asteroid field, said. Please, Captain, my daughter is on one of those ships. Looked at Lee Hay. She was already plotting a course. We can be there in 6 hours, Captain. Do it, ordered. He turned back to Merchant. We are coming. Send us all the information you have on these raiders. The transmission ended. Engineer Park Jin spoke up from his station. Captain, the Razor Belt is dangerous territory. The asteroids there are dense and move unpredictably. Then we will navigate carefully, said, but we are going. 6 hours later, the Retribution emerged at the edge of the Razor Belt. The asteroid field stretched before them, a chaotic maze of spinning rocks and debris. Sensors are picking up 3 ships, tactical officer reported. Raider-class vessels. They match the descriptions Merchant provided. Any signs of the hostages? Asked. I am reading life signs on all 3 ships, Lee Hay said. It looks like they split the prisoners between the vessels. Smart said. If we destroy one ship, they kill the hostages on the others. So what do we do? Asked. Thought for a moment, then he smiled. We board them. Medical officer Nu's voice came over the intercom. Captain, did I just hear you say we are boarding 3 hostile ships in the middle of an asteroid field? That is correct, replied. Just checking, Nu said dryly. I will prepare the medical bay. Security Chief Bei Wu assembled his boarding teams. Each team had 5 Marines. Corporal Han led Team 1. His squad from the mission was with him. And this will be different from, Wu told them. We are going into confined spaces, close quarters combat, no room for error. When is there ever room for error? Asked. Wu smiled. Good point, just remember hostages first, kill the raiders second. The boarding pods launched. They were small craft, barely big enough for 5 people, but they were fast and hard to detect. Spod approached the first raider ship. Through the small window, he could see asteroids spinning past. One wrong move and they would be crushed. But the pilot was skilled. They slipped between the rocks and latched onto the raider ship's hull. Breaching in 3, 2, 1, the pilot announced. The pod's cutting torch activated. It burned through the hull in seconds, and his squad poured through the opening. They found themselves in a cargo bay. Boxes and crates were stacked everywhere, and standing between them were 6 raiders. The raiders were surprised. They had not expected anyone to board them in the middle of the Razor Belt. That surprise lasted exactly 2 seconds. Then squad opened fire. The firefight was brief and violent. The raiders had weapons, but they were not soldiers. They were criminals who relied on fear and numbers. Against trained Marines, they did not stand a chance. Clear, reported, checking the bodies. Move to the prisoner hold, ordered. They advanced through the ship. More raiders appeared. Each time the result was the same. The Marines moved with precision, clearing room by room. They found the hostages in the lower deck, 12 beings chained to the walls. They looked terrified. We are here to rescue you, said gently. Can anyone walk? One of the prisoners, a young female with the same golden scales as Merchant, spoke up. I can help the others. Are you from Earth? Yes, said. Thank the stars, she whispered. We thought we were going to die here. Worked on the chains while stood guard. Helped the freed prisoners to their feet. Team 1 to Retribution, called over his radio. We have secured the hostages on Ship 1, heading to extraction point. Copy that, replied. Teams 2 and 3 are reporting similar success. Well done. The 3 boarding teams made their way back to the pods with the rescued hostages. The raiders who tried to stop them were eliminated quickly. But as pod detached from the raider ship, something went wrong. "We have a problem," the pilot said urgently. "An asteroid is coming in fast. I cannot dodge it with all this weight." Looked through the window. A massive rock was spinning toward them, moving far faster than it should. "Everyone hold on," the pilot yelled. She fired the pod's thrusters at maximum. The small craft lurched to the side. The asteroid missed them by meters. But the thruster burn pushed them into a different trajectory. They were heading straight for another asteroid. "Brace," the pilot shouted. The impact was hard but not fatal. The pod bounced off the rock and tumbled through space. Felt his stomach lurch as they spun. Finally, the pilot regained control. "Everyone okay?" Checked his squad and the hostages. "We are alive. That counts as okay." They made it back to the Retribution 10 minutes later. The other teams had already returned. All the hostages were safe. Merchant's daughter rushed to thank personally. "You saved us. How can I ever repay you?" "Just live a good life," said. "That is payment enough." Later on the bridge, received a transmission from the Galactic Council. It was Ambassador Sun. "Captain, I wanted to inform you personally," Sun said. "The Council has the Protector protocols. You now have official authority to respond to distress calls with full military force." "What are the limitations?" asked. "You must accept surrenders when offered. You must protect civilians at all costs, and you must use proportional force when possible." Nodded. "We have been following those rules since the beginning." "I know," Sun said. "That is why the Council finally agreed. They realized that Earth's military has more discipline than they gave us credit for." She paused. "There is something else. 52 colonies have now requested Earth protection agreements. They want human ships patrolling their space." 52, said surprised. "Word spreads fast," Sun replied. "The galaxy sees what you just did for Merchant. They see that Earth keeps its promises." "Or they see that we are useful," said quietly. "Perhaps," Sun admitted. "But does it matter? Either way, we are making the galaxy safer." After the transmission ended, Li He spoke up. "Captain, do you think we are doing the right thing, making the galaxy fear us?" Considered the question carefully. "We are not making them fear us, Navigator. We are making them fear what happens when they prey on the weak. There is a difference." "Is there?" she asked. "I believe so," said. "Fear can be a tool for evil or for good. We use it to protect, to prevent violence before it starts. That is not the same as using fear to control or oppress." Jin joined the conversation. "Some species are calling us the galaxy's attack dogs. They say we are too violent, too quick to fight." "Let them say what they want," said. "I would rather be called violent than be the ones who watch innocents die while debating protocol." Na had the final word. "We saved lives today. That is what matters. The families are together. Merchant has his daughter back. Everything else is just noise." The Retribution continued its patrol. Over the following months, they responded to 6 more distress calls. Each time they arrived fast. Each time they fought hard. Each time they brought people home. Other Earth ships joined them. The Vengeance and the Reckoning were repaired and returned to duty. New vessels were built, the Justice, the Fury, the Shield. Each one carried the same mission: protect the innocent, hunt the guilty. The galaxy learned to recognize the sight of human warships. When they appeared, criminals fled. When they spoke, pirates surrendered. When they promised protection, people believed them. But there were still those who tested Earth's resolve. 1 year after the incident, a warlord named attacked a refugee station. He thought the humans would not risk civilian casualties to stop him. He was wrong. Captain's forces arrived within hours. They gave one warning, laughed and opened fire on the refugees. What followed was brutal and final. His entire fleet was destroyed. The warlord himself was captured and turned over to galactic authorities. The trial was brief, was sentenced to life imprisonment, but as he was led away, he spat at the human guards. You think you are heroes, he snarled, but you are just killers with better public relations. Corporal, who was overseeing the transfer, looked at the warlord calmly. Maybe, but we kill people like you to save people like them. He pointed to the refugee station, where thousands of beings were rebuilding their lives. So call us whatever you want, said. Just remember what happens when you threaten the innocent. Had no response to that. The retribution sailed on. Captain stood on the bridge and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, someone was in trouble. Somewhere, someone was calling for help. And when that call came, Earth would answer. Not with kind words and slow diplomacy. Not with endless debates and careful protocols. Earth would answer with fast ships and fierce warriors, with humans who had learned to fight on and brought those lessons to the stars. The galaxy had wanted protectors, they got. And the universe was learning that sometimes that was exactly what was needed. Ambassador Sun's final report to Earth Command summarized it perfectly. We did not come to the stars to be liked, we came to make a difference. The Galactic Council prefers peace through negotiation. Earth offers peace through strength. Both have their place. But when a child cries in the darkness, when the innocent face certain death, when evil comes calling, that is when the galaxy calls for us. They do not call us because we are kind. They call us because we are effective. They do not call us because we are gentle. They call us because we are willing to do what others will not. Earth's answered the SOS, and we will continue to answer, not with kindness but with something more valuable, justice delivered with absolute conviction. The weak sleep safely because rough people stand ready to do violence on their behalf. Earth has become those rough people for the galaxy. And we will not apologize for it. Captain closed the report and looked at his crew. They were ready, they were willing, they were. And they had work to do.